Hey there and welcome back to Autumn Afar. Thank you for joining me and welcome back to those of you who've joined me before. Today, as always, I want to encourage you to do your own research and form your own opinions, and anything that you might be interested in is down in the description box below. Today, we're going to be talking about some of the most unique travel experiences that I have ever heard of and some of which I have experienced. This is part one of a two-part video because I found and know of so many that I wanted to split it up so that it's a little bit easier to digest. So some things in life are extraordinary. Some might be a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and some you might just straight up and nope out of there. So here are 5 of some of the most unique travel experiences that you can find all over the world. So I will be mentioning where I went, specifically what companies I went with, but I'm not sponsored. I just wanted to give credit where credit is due because these people gave me an incredible experience and I really want other people to have that as well. It's the whole reason I do this. And it's also really important because the majority of people that I travel with have been small local businesses, and they really, really deserve the help, especially the ones who are so fantastic, like the people that I've been fortunate enough to travel with. The first item that I'm putting on this list is one that I knew about but did not know I was going to get to experience. And that would be the glowworms. They absolutely mesmerized me. I am so in awe of these tiny little creatures, and I know a lot of people don't like worms, but you don't have to touch them. They're these tiny, tiny little worms with just as short of a lifespan, and the glow is due to vibrations. One of the most famous places you can see them is in New Zealand in the Waitomo Caves. I also actually got to see them a little bit further south in Doubtful Sound when we went on a night hike, and it wasn't as beautiful as in Waitomo because in Waitomo you are in a cave all enclosed, and I got to take a boat. I'll get into the company, but I got to take a boat into the cave. So the photos make them look really, really, really bright, but in my experience, it's a little bit of Photoshop because they aren't that bright in person. They are really bright and they can kind of reflect up on you, but they're not going to light up your face the way, a flashlight would or something like that. They're still fantastic to see though. This specific type of worm is found exclusively in New Zealand. If you're going to be traveling there, I went with Spellbound. They were absolutely fantastic. The prices were really, really reasonable. I don't remember how much I spent, but it was definitely worth it. They have really small groups, and I really enjoy that because it means you don't have to be fighting with people to get a spot, and it also means that you're not as crowded in, which is obviously very, very helpful. Something you can find a few different places, including New Zealand, are colored beaches. So obviously you've probably seen the ones on Instagram that are black sand, since they're super, super popular and really beautiful. There are also pink sand beaches, rock beaches, glass beaches. Glass beaches can be found all over the place, from New York to Hawaii. Bermuda and the Bahamas and the Caribbean also have them. There are a few in Russia and in England and Japan. These beaches are caused, unfortunately, mostly by litter left over from the past. Old dumping grounds, people and companies leaving their garbage behind, and now they're this massive tourist attraction. The sand beaches, the colored sand beaches, are some of the best known, likely because they're really common when you see them on TV or online. There's a lot of influencers who will go to these beaches. Usually you'll see a beautiful white sand beach like the ones in countless places, but the colored sand beaches are becoming increasingly popular. The red sand beaches can be found in Greece and Hawaii. Hawaii is an incredible location for beaches, obviously. They also have green, black, and orange beaches. It would probably take hours, if not days, to list all the different colored sand beaches around the world, but they can be found in Italy, Bermuda, Iceland, Malta, New Zealand, and here in my home country of Canada, we have one in Prince Edward Island, California, and Australia, among a whole bunch of other places. But my favorite has to be the rock beaches. The first time I saw a rock beach was when I was in Newfoundland. I don't remember where exactly this beach was. What I do remember was we were staying at a pretty terrible hotel, which has now closed down, thankfully. And so we went there, and the sound is just out of this world. You can't usually swim at these rock beaches because obviously it's not little tiny rocks. There are also giant boulders, and they will come crashing up into you, and you could get seriously hurt. So please don't go swimming. Also, please don't go to these beaches and take the glass or the sand, because it really does deteriorate them, and they are destroyed over time, and no one else can enjoy them. If everyone who went grabbed a couple pieces or grabbed a bottle of sand within a generation or two, they might not exist anymore. So if you go, take as many pictures as you'd like, but don't bring anything home with you. So one of the greatest thrills I think anybody could ever experience is seeing an animal out in nature in their natural habitat. Kangaroos, koalas, jaguars, bears, elephants, turtles, sharks, moose, deer. Until the moose charges at you and you need to speed away, but that's a story for another time. Newfoundland's a crazy place. Being able to see creatures in all kinds in their natural environment is something it's just an incredible experience. If, like me, you're lucky enough to see any creatures at all in the wild, stay a safe distance away. They move a lot more quickly than you realize. The government of Canada recommends staying 30 meters, which is about 98 feet away from large animals, and about 100 meters or 300 feet away from bears, wolves, coyotes, and cougars, because they're dangerous animals. There's no other way to put it. It's almost unbelievable how quickly they can get from where they were to where you are. So really, I would very much advise you to heed that advice. Also, don't feed the wildlife, please. Depending on the animal, it can actually kill them. Not because they will die from the food that's ingested, but because they may become reliant on humans for food. And we can't have that. We need to keep these animals wild. We need to make sure that they are there for future generations. So if you are fortunate enough to see them, please take all of your food with you. Don't leave any behind that they could get their mouths on. Another thing that is an absolutely incredible experience that I had in New Zealand was bioluminescence. For those who aren't familiar, bioluminescence is actually kind of similar to the glowworms I talked about earlier, except this is in water. So I remember it very vaguely being covered when I was in high school, but seeing it is a whole other experience. It's what happens when plankton emit radiation that they've absorbed during the day from the sun, and they are disturbed by motion. So like swimming or a boat going through the water, and it'll light up the water. Again, similarly to the glowworms, it is a lot brighter in pictures than it is in person. So please be prepared for that. The first time I got to see bioluminescence was when I was in the Bay of Islands. We were on an overnight cruise with a company called the Rock Adventure Cruise. They are fantastic. I really enjoyed my time with them, and they've got some really great stuff on Instagram if you want to go check them out. I will link them below as well. I won't spoil it because I think it was really special, but being out on the water and listening to our guides tell stories, it was really special. It was really special. It's like, if you want an idea of what it looks like, it's kind of like Moana. You know, this scene where like her ancestors are sailing with her and the water lights up underneath her. That's bioluminescence. It is absolutely stunning. For bioluminescence, this one thankfully is not exclusive to New Zealand. You can actually see it in a couple of different places, including Puerto Rico, Hong Kong, New Jersey, San Diego, Japan, Florida, Vietnam, and the Maldives. And the Maldives is actually where I think one of the most famous images is, where it's on the beach and it's kind of washed up and the beach is glowing. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about here would be glaciers. Are not something that I expected to be as incredible as they actually are. I mean, I'm from Canada, I know what ice looks like, but seeing a glacier even from a few kilometers away is an otherworldly experience. It's incredible how quickly the temperature drops from where you might be staying to where you are with the glacier. It could be 40 degrees when you leave your hotel, and by the time you get up close to the glacier, it's 10 degrees. It's insane. Just to warn you, there usually is a little bit of hiking involved, but it is so worth it. They're common in a lot of places, Europe, and there's one in Canada here on the west coast, but I haven't been out there quite yet, so I haven't seen it. These glaciers typically are leftover ice from centuries ago, but unfortunately for us, they are melting at unprecedented rates. Some places are trying to slow the process by covering them in protective tarps. While I was in New Zealand, I unfortunately did not take the opportunity to go up to the Franz Josef Glacier in a helicopter. I've been told by everybody that it's an absolutely incredible experience. I really hope to get back and be able to do that, but I found it was a little bit expensive for what I was looking to spend, especially as someone who didn't have a ton of money to spend on excursions, especially at the beginning of my trip. But I really do hope to one day be able to either get back there or get to another glacier. If the opportunity should present itself, I would absolutely love to do that. So those are just 5 of some of the most incredible experiences that I have had the incredible fortune of experiencing. Thank you again so much for joining me today. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to drop a comment or reach out to me on my social media. You can find me as @autumnafar on everything. And here's a reminder, always find the time for things that make you feel happy to be alive. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.